So I sat down on a plane next to a young woman and her boyfriend. I struck up a conversation, and I learned that this woman is a recording artist, and she goes by the artist name Whipped Cream. She was on her way to play a show, and her music is something called dubstep, which has a really heavy bass that actually will rattle your teeth. So there was little chance we were going to connect over her music. So instead, I asked her why she was a recording artist. She thought about it for a minute, and she told me that she had a need to inspire people to chase their dreams. And then she asked about me, and I told her that my why was to make things better. A profound conversation ensued. We got to know each other to the point where she invited me and my son to go to her show that night. It was New Year's Eve in Chicago. We rescheduled our layover, and we stayed over and went to see her show. And I can now scratch attend a rave off of my bucket list. But it all happened because I was willing to be vulnerable and ask about her why, and I was willing to share mine. I have to thank her and her team for showing the kindness to me and my son that they did over the course of that show. So the irony of social media is that while we have never been more connected in the virtual world, we have never been more isolated from each other in the real world. I remember being at my grandparents' house and how open their home felt and how connected it felt to the rest of her neighborhood. She knew the neighbors knew her, that kids knew each other, and they all looked out for each other. Today, when I've been raising my kids, I know the neighbor to the left of me and to the right of me. I know the people across the street, but we don't socialize. We don't get together. We're not there for each other the way that they were when I was young with my grandparents. It feels like the speed of our lives is increasing in direct proportion to the speed of our internet connection. And what's being lost is our connection to each other. We want to believe that we don't need each other to be happy, that we can be happy all by ourselves. But the truth is we can't. We need each other. It's not a coincidence that depression and anxiety and cynicism and hate have all increased as we've become more isolated from each other and as we've retreated into this virtual world. Even in the virtual world, people want virtual connection. They want to know the stories behind the influencers or the social media people or the content that they watch on things like YouTube. They want to know not just who people are, but why they're doing what they're doing. Even in shows that are competitive, like American Idol or America's Got Talent or something like that, those shows take pains to give the backstory on the contestants so that the viewers get an idea of why these people are here, not just what they can do. We all have a need to belong, to know that we're not alone, to know that we have a connection to each other. The need is actually biological, and it goes back millennia to hunting and gathering and competing for resources. We've always had to have connection. So literally in human society, the need to connect to each other is a matter of life and death. The beauty of the story that I started this video with is that we can be wildly different from each other and still connect if we're willing to share our why. On the surface, it would seem that a young artist in her 20s with blue highlights would have very little chance of connecting with a middle-aged medical malpractice lawyer from Cleveland, Ohio. But on the surface is not where we connect. It's below the surface, and you have to dig below that to find things that we have in common with each other. And if we're willing to do that, we can connect with just about anyone. The famous author C.S. Lewis once said, "Friendship begins at the moment when one person says to the other, 'What? You too? I thought I was the only one.'" So Johann Hari, in his book Lost Connections, tells the story of a housing project in Germany that had punk rockers and religious conservative Turkish immigrants and sex workers all living in the same buildings with bars on their windows, totally isolated from each other, and none of them talking to each other, as landlords tried to run them out individually from their homes through gentrification. Finally, one religious Turkish immigrant, an older woman, wrote a note, and she put it on her window, and it said, "I'm being evicted on such and such a date, and the day before I'm evicted, I'm going to kill myself." Well, that got these people talking, and they started to talk to each other about this note, and they came to learn that they had everything in common with what was happening in their lives. Moreover, they had more in common than they thought when they scratched below the surface. It led to an uprising. It led to a protest movement. It led to changes in the law that put in rent controls and helped these people stay in their homes instead of being evicted through gentrification. It's a remarkable story. But the story of the protest isn't as compelling as the story of the connections that were made between religious conservatives and punk rockers and teenagers and other people who thought on their surface that they had nothing in common, but realized they had everything in common when they talked. It's a remarkable story. I encourage the read. It all starts with sharing things that are important to us and asking other people about things that are important to them. We have to get past small talk, and we have to get to real talk. There's a TED Talk by a young woman named Kalina Silverman. I'll let her tell you what she has to say in the following clip.
Wait, yeah, screw small talk. Why do we even make small talk? And I thought, you know, what if when talking to our friends, coworkers, or even complete strangers, we could always just skip the small talk and instead talk about the things that really mattered in life, or things that at least we both actually really cared about and wanted to talk about. And so I was like, wait, screw small talk, skipping the small talk, we should make big talk.
Hi, I'm Kalina, and this is the beginning of an experiment called Big Talk. I wanted to be able to go out, meet new people, and instead of just make small talk, actually have deeper, meaningful conversations with them.
I want to learn how to scuba dive.
Travel the Appalachian Trail.
Go to the priest and make a confession.
I'd like to be a herpetologist, somebody who studies reptiles and amphibians.
See my kids graduate from college.
Make every moment count.
The ultimate vision is to use Big Talk to build global empathy through the power of connection over sharing stories about our universal human experiences, but also, and just as important, to use Big Talk as a tool for understanding and connecting with yourself.
Sharing our why, to me, is the biggest of the big talk. Our why goes to the core of who we are. If you look at marketing materials or read books, they'll give you lots of reasons to share your why. Things like clarity, motivation, accountability. And those are all valid reasons to share your why. But to me, the real reason is to make a connection, is to connect with each other. Because when you do that, it gives you goosebumps. It makes you smile. And that smile stays for a long time. I'm making these videos to share my journey, to show how our why controls everything in our lives, whether we want it to or not. My why is to make things better, and my hope is that by making these videos, the watcher finds something in the videos that will help them on their journey. So if you like what we're doing, please consider liking, subscribing, or commenting on the video here. If you want to find the videos, you can find them here on our YouTube channel, or if you want to find out more about our law firm, you can visit our website at kcinjury.com. Thanks for watching, and be well.